We weren't expecting you.
I wasn't expecting to be here, but it seems we still owe you a considerable amount of coin for your help with our rebuilding efforts. And though I doubt it's what you were expecting, we were hoping you'd take this as payment.
A star ruby? I can't accept this. It's worth at least twice what you owe me. More if you can find yourself the right buyer.
Think of the difference as interest.
Interest? If word got out I charged that much, no one would ever borrow from me again. Anyway, why are you the one here asking me about this? I'd have expected Otto. Bit much sending the Lord Marquis out to settle your debts, isn't it? The old goat working himself to death again.
Something like that. Most days I think he's the only reason the hideaway's still standing.
Same as always, eh? Back when the place was nothing but a twinkle in the eye of a recently retired Lord Commander, word is he was the first one Sid reached out to. Probably knew that without his strong arm and level head, the idea would never get off the ground. Sid may have been the face of the hideaway, but Otto's always been the backbone. And when Sid passed away, we were all worried that would be the end of it. That Otto would just give up.
His death was hard on everyone. But it must have hit Otto hardest of all.
But he didn't give up, did he? Quite the opposite, in fact. If I recall, he was the one who nominated you as Sid's replacement, and rallied the rest around you. I reckon what he saw in Sid, he saw in you too. And don't we all? Doesn't hurt that you're half as stubborn and twice as handsome, neither. That, and you keep good company.
I suppose I do. People take notice of wealthy men. Shouldn't be too hard to track down Karen's collector.
The Sendrate's fang is gone. The whole mother crystal gone. What are we gonna do?
Back again, are you? Any more trouble and you'll be barred for life, however deep your friends' pockets might be.
My reputation will be ruined! Ruined!
Calm yourself, Lord Ignac, I beg of you, before you do yourself a mischief.
Pardon the intrusion, but...
Out! Get out! I paid for these rooms so I wouldn't be disturbed. Leave me be!
Please, allow me to apologize. His lordship is going through a difficult time, and he's never been fond of guests arriving unannounced.
Radim! Get rid of the filthy oaf this instant!
Very good, Lord Ignac. Would you mind stepping outside for a moment?
I'm sorry if I've caused you any trouble.
That? No, no, no. That's just how his lordship is. Though the morning's events have left him somewhat fractious. He has been dispossessed of his luggage, you see. The thieves also made away with a considerable amount of coin. Coin the innkeeper will soon be keen to collect.
I don't suppose a certain blade was among the stolen items. A single-edged sword. It was purchased from a merchant friend of mine.
Ah, you know Lady Karen. Yes, I'm afraid it was.
Then I'll retrieve Lord Ignac's luggage. But I have one condition.
You have but to state it. You are welcome to anything that is within my power to grant.
I want an audience with Lord Ignac. A few minutes should be enough. Then I'll be on my way.
A condition I would be a fool to refuse. Of course, you shall have your audience.
I don't suppose you saw where the thieves went.
I did not, no. Though some discreet inquiries made on his lordship's behalf mean that I know where you might find them. The bandit's bed. Every ill-gotten coin in Dalimil is said to pass through that disreputable corner of the Valcroy.
And that's where I'm heading.
I shall speak to Lord Ignac in your absence, and arrange for an audience upon your triumphant return.
That will be very kind of you.
Farewell, and best of luck.
It seems the rumors were true. Drake's Fang has been destroyed.
Faster!
Time to fight. Come on. Run like the wind. Thanks, Gal. ready, girl?
Got company! Come on, lads, let's tear the bastard's head off!
Let's try. This must be Ignac's luggage. Nothing seems to be damaged. All right. Let's get it back to Dalimil.
I hear I have you to thank for the return of my effects. What shall I call you, my good man?
Wyvern. Glad to make your acquaintance.
A formidable name indeed. Well, Wyvern, I appear to be in your debt. Radim here tells me you wished for an audience. Is that all?
A few moments of your time should suffice, yes.
You're a peculiar fellow, Wyvern. All right, speak.
Master Wyvern was wondering if you could tell him about a certain single-edged sword you recently acquired.
Oh, a true work of art, that one. Karen drove me hard on the price, but I would have sold her Radim here to get my hands on that sword. It was made in the Outer Isles, far beyond the Twins, and is used exclusively by the practitioners of a unique school of swordsmanship. They believe no combat should ever exceed a single strike, and hone their blades to such perfection that none ever does. Each sword is made for that one perfect stroke, and for that stroke only. They crack upon a second blow. There's a brutal sort of beauty to it, really.
But how do they hone such an edge?
Fine question. Why, they use a whetstone, of course. Whetstones, rather. A whole array of them, ranging from the coarse to the fine. 10,000 licks with the sharpening stone, then 10,000 more. But it is the final stone which lends the blade its legendary sharpness. A mineral quite foreign to this great realm of ours. And that is the key. The secret ingredient. Wyvern, it occurs to me that my little lecture is hardly equal to services rendered. Take this, together with my regards. The very stone of which I spoke, far rarer among collectors than even the blade itself, and a far more fitting payment.
Thank you.
Pardon the intrusion, my lordship. However, it is long past time we prepared ourselves to depart.
So it is. I am locked in bitter competition with a rival collector of curiosities. I am one step ahead of the unscrupulous scoundrel, but he is hard at my heels.
And there are many other collectors out there.
Too many to count, but only one do I consider my nemesis. Lord Byron Rosfield, and is a perennial thorn in my side.
I can imagine.
Farewell, Wyvern. May our paths cross again. Radim, we mustn't dawdle.
I think his lordship is rather taken with you, Master Wyvern. Thank you again for your assistance. Coming, my lordship. I'll be right there.
Trust Uncle Byron to find such an interesting rival. Now, let's see what Blackthorn makes of this whetstone, shall we?
Fetch!
Sorry for the wait, but hopefully you'll agree it was worth it.
You learned something about that sword, then?
I did better than that.
A whetstone?
Yes, but not one you'll find anywhere in Valisthea.
No wonder I couldn't get the same finish on the grinding wheel. One hit and all done, eh? Might not be so bad if all you ever fought were duels. Good luck on the battlefield. Your second opponent would be your last, no matter how good you were.
Even so, is there some way it could be used to give the Cursebreakers an edge?
I think so, yeah. With this whetstone and the right kind of steel, I could probably even make a twin of the blade that rattled me. But there'd be no replacing this little rock once I worn it down to a sliver. I reckon we get a dozen swords from it, if that. Swords that the Cursebreakers wouldn't know how to wield properly, and that would see them through a single fire piece. Nah, no point trying to copy that thing. Be about as much use as a wax anvil. But finishing our blades with a whetstone this fine, now that's something to consider. And what's finer than fallen masonry, eh? Or more hard wearing, for that matter. Just imagine it. Good Valesthian steel with an edge as sharp as any found in the Outer Isles. I won't make a copy now. I'll make something much better.
I'm sure the Curse Breakers will be delighted. Just don't push yourself too hard.
Don't you worry about me, Sunshine. I've been working day and night since I was half your age, and I'll still be here when you're long gone. Hey, thanks, Clive. I mean it. I owe you one, August too. It's good to know someone's looking out for me.
You'll be happy to hear you said that.
And I'll see that my debt to you's paid. First new blade I make's got your name on it. You come and find me when you've got the materials.
All right. I will.
Back, are ya? So, what'll it be? Should last you a good while. That it? Fine. Clive. Not saying Fornian, do you? Back, are ya? What do you want? That it? Fine.
Lawsman, I need to ask you about Torgal. Something's not right with him.
He isn't ill, is he?
I don't think so. But according to Lady Karen, he seems to have lost his appetite, which is certainly a new development. She says he's hardly been touching his bones of late, and she believes it may have something to do with what happened at Rosalith Castle.
I rather think she might be right, though not about his appetite. All Canids are instinctively inclined to crack open bones for the rich marrow that resides within, and I see no reason why a Frostwolf should be any different. Accordingly, I suspect it is not a lack of appetite that afflicts Torgal, but a surfeit of it. If we assume that his newfound magics require additional nourishment to sustain, it may well be that the bones Lady Karen is accustomed to providing are no longer sufficient. Frostwolves, after all, habitually prey upon far larger animals, whose bones may yield altogether different nutrients. As to where one might find a suitable substitute, some antelopes that graze the meadows of eastern Rosaria have been known to grow to a size more than double that of their lesser cousins.
I don't recall ever seeing any that large.
And little wonder. The oldest and largest such creatures rarely leave the safety of the highlands for fear of predators. The last elder antelope sighting I recall hearing about took place near Cressida, and that was long before the village was abandoned.
Even so, It seems like a good place to start.
Good hunting, Clive.
Cid gets the energy.
Mid told me she was building a ship.
Sounds like Goots's friends are in the same trade as us. Nothing wrong with a bit of healthy competition.
Out of my sight, wretch! I've no use for a brandy who can't even fill my cup.
If I knew arrival...
Now I just need to see about getting the word out to everyone.
We'd be...
I want to know right away.
Bad news.
Good, actually. Something worth celebrating for a change. Only trouble is, the serving girl's still new to the job, so I can't leave her while I go and invite those I'd like to celebrate with.
What exactly are you celebrating, if you don't mind me asking?
I've come by a particularly fine bottle of red. A Gotan 66, no less. Gotan Rouge is the only good thing to have ever come out of the Empire. And most wouldn't part with a 66 if you held a knife to their throats.
So I've heard.
Oh, so you know of it then? Clearly you're a gentleman of taste. A gentleman who might sympathize with my predicament, perhaps? Would you pass the good news to a few friends of mine? I'll give you a little something for your time, of course.
Sounds simple enough.
So you'll do it? Marvelous. Thank you. You won't need to go far. All three of them should be right here in the market. There's Aldrich the porter, Milan the butcher, and Bolek, a guard over at the north gate. Three of the finest fellows in Boklad, if you ask me. Tell them to come to the tavern when they finish for the day. Stop by again when you let them know, and I'll give you your little something.
I'll be right back.
Let me carry your goods. I'm cheap.
Clive, you're always welcome at the caravans.
Porter for hire. The best service and the best price.
That's that then.
I see you've been of some assistance to Eloise. Perhaps you can extend me the same kindness?
Perhaps. What would I be doing?
Finding someone. You see, I've been having trouble with thieves, and despite the many pains I've taken, I can't stop them from rummaging through my packs. I was griping about my lot to a friend of mine a few days back, and he offered to track the culprits down. Now, Joseph's a sellsword, and a good one at that. But he's been gone days, and I'm beginning to fear the worst.
Any idea where his search for the thieves might have taken him?
The old Zemeckis Road, perhaps? He doubted they would be fool enough to linger here in Boklad. Joseph's lived a hard life. Made him grey long before his time. I just pray he hasn't been killed over a few sacks of grain.
I can't imagine there are too many grey-haired sellswords around. Hopefully someone will have seen him.
Daddy, I'm hungry.
There are no crystals here. We have to keep going.
What do you want? I've no coin on me.
Just information. Has a sellsword passed through here? Grey hair.
Now you mention it, there was a young man with salt in his mane sneaking around out there a while back.
Which way did he go?
How am I supposed to know? Buggered off down the road, I expect. Now why don't you do the same and leave me be?
We don't want any trouble.
Neither do I. I'm looking for someone. A grey-haired mercenary.
Well, we haven't seen him.
Yes, we have. We saw him climbing up the rocks. Those ones, over there.
Maybe he found his thieves.
Mum won't let me near them. She said there's goblins up there, and that they eat little boys for dinner.
Shush now. You've said quite enough already.
I only told him what you said.
I'd listen to your mother if I were you. Did Joseph's thieves really lug their stolen wares all the way out here? Ugh. think we found our thieves. They don't look happy to see me. Let's get this over with.
Stop! Don't kill him, he's just protecting his home.
Joseph? So the boy was right.
I don't know you.
Your porter friend sent me to find you. She was worried you might have got yourself killed.
Have I been gone that long? It wasn't hard finding the thieves. The problem was knowing what to do with them when I did.
I take it things are more complicated than they appear.
I'd all but ruled out bandits before I even left the market. You know why that is? Because our thieves had no interest in gold or gems, or anything they couldn't eat for that matter. Add to that the rumors of goblins in the area, and the mystery practically solved itself. I soon found their cozy little homestead and all the missing food. I launched myself at them, full of righteous fury, but their leader was the only one who moved to meet me. The others, they huddled around that food, ready to die protecting it. They stole because it was that or starvation. I've been there myself, back when times were hard.
So you spared them? And earned their trust into the bargain by the look of it.
These goblins aren't native to the area. They don't know how to survive such barren lands, so I've been teaching them. And once they've learned to hunt and forage, they won't be fool enough to risk their necks in Boklad.
I'm impressed. I didn't know goblins could be reasoned with.
Do me a favor. Let the porter know I'm safe. I'll head back to the market once my work here is done. Oh, and don't mention the goblins. I don't want people coming here brandishing pitchforks. Not now this lot have sworn off thieving.
Your secret's safe with me.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'd always thought of goblins as mindless savages. isn't better than half a mile circle. I'd always thought of goblins as mindless savages.
Daddy, I'm hungry.
Yeah, and I'm broke.
That's that then. No traders.
Joseph's fine. He'll be back once he's tied up a few loose ends.
That's a weight off my shoulders.
He certainly knows his business. You found your thieves all right. And I dare say they won't be coming back.
A good man to have around, that Joseph. And if he says there'll be no more thieving, that's good enough for me. Thank you for putting my mind at ease. Here, for your troubles.
Let me carry your goods. I'm cheap.
And nasty. Let me handle it.
Out of my sight, wretch.
Peaches and pears.
Come on, come on! Juicy pears! Slake your thirst without a crystal.
I'll take the large one.
Come, taste my peaches! They're sweet as nectar!
I'm looking for Bolek. I was told he'd be guarding the gate.
Well, you found him. You're not here to enlist, I take it?
The innkeeper sent me. He's just taken delivery of a rare vintage, a Gotan 66. He thought you might like a cup.
I've never said no to a goat hand. I'm not about to start now. Thanks for letting me know.
You must be a busy man.
The market would be flooded with refugees if we weren't here to stem the flow. Oh, my heart goes out to them, all right, but we've got our orders. No papers, no passage. Plenty try to slip past us nonetheless. And every now and then, one of them's foolish enough to try and force their way through. And when they do, well, things can get nasty. You know what? That wine's sounding better by the moment. Let us through!
Come, taste my peaches! They're sweet as nectar! The finest earthenware from the Free Cities! All but unbreakable!
Are you Milan, the butcher?
That's me. What can I do for you?
The innkeeper's just had a special delivery. He thought you might like to join him for a cup of wine after you pack up for the day.
He knows me only too well. And I've got a ham here that will go handsomely with a nice drop.
Wine and ham to spare. Bocklad clearly isn't suffering then.
Comes with being the place everyone has to pass through to get to everywhere else. Those who travel the Crystal Road bring all manner of goods with them. We get meat from Sanbreque, herbs from Rosaria. Why, sometimes we even see curiosities from across the Narrow. My old man knew what he was about when he set up shop here all those years ago. Anyway, thanks for the good news. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll shut up shop early. Wouldn't want to keep our friend waiting.
Jug of snake spit for the road?
Come one, come all!
Well met. May Gilbert smile upon you.
Let me carry your goods. I'm cheap.
And nasty. Let me, my lord. You won't regret it.
I've been asked to find Aldrich, the porter. I don't suppose that's you, is it?
That's me right enough. You need something delivered?
The innkeeper sent me. He said there's a cup of Gotan 66 with your name on it when you're done for the day.
A 66? Bugger me. If he's just got hold of it now, it must have been in the crates he had me carry down from Sanbreque.
From the Empire to Bocklad. You must be a braver man than most. That's a treacherous route at the best of times.
Such is the porter's lot. There's not a patch of storm these feet haven't traipsed across. It's Oriflamme one day, then off to Canva the next. The farther you're willing to go, the fatter the purse. Which is why there's no shortage of competition for some of the longer routes. I'd say I've done enough for today to earn myself a cup of something tasty. Thanks for letting me know.
Well done. I wonder if the innkeeper might spare a cup of that wine.
If our new arrivals had brought any...
I spoke to your friends. They'll be along soon.
That's fantastic news. Thank you kindly. It's been a while since we all sat down together. And the way I see it, that wine is as much theirs as it is my own.
How so?
Well, I wouldn't be serving anything but slops without Aldrich to go and fetch the good stuff for me. And then there's Milan, who always sends customers my way. And Bolek, an even-handed keeper of the peace, if ever there was one. Those three are the backbone of Bocklad. Lose any one of them, and the market would soon fall apart. And without the market, I wouldn't have a single customer. I'd say that's worth a bottle of 66, wouldn't you?
And more besides.
Everyone needs a shoulder to lean on. Be they world-weary innkeepers or brooding swordsmen. Right. I'd better prepare for my guest's arrival.
I hear you had me carrying a bottle of Gotan 66. If I'd have known, I would have sold the thing and lived like a lord. I'll settle for a cup, though, if you're in a sharing mood.
A Gotan 60 bloody 6.
Just as well I had something special of my own set aside.
A bottle between the four of us might not be enough to drown our sorrows, but it can't hurt.
Here they are, the free pillars of Boklad. Sit yourselves down, gentlemen. The woes of the world may be monstrous in many, but there's nothing like a few good friends to keep the misery at bay.
Never a truer word spoken.
There's talk that the glass
How the hell is anyone supposed
Did you hear? The gates to heaven.
I want to see you again. It's all right.
What am I going to do without Sweetwater and Olive Talc? Still no...
Milady, I come bearing gifts.
Gifts? Whatever is the occasion. Oh my. Clive, you really have outdone yourself.
Otto asked me to give it to you. To settle the Hideaway's debt with the Veil. And to compensate you for the time it took us to do so.
You disappoint me, Clive. I thought you might finally be warming to me. Tell Otto he can keep his baubles. I tried to tell him as much the first time around. The man owes me nothing, nor does the Hideaway. My contribution to the restoration effort was made freely and willingly. It was the least I could do.
You once told me Sid did you a kindness. I'd like to do the same. Please, accept it. For my sake. And for Otto's. For all of us. For all you've done.
It is rather fetching, isn't it? Very well. Otto is lucky to have you, Clive. I doubt anything could ever replace his son. But you and the others at the Hideaway are the closest thing he has to family.
Otto had a son.
Long ago, yes. Sid told me Otto lost him when he was just a boy, and blamed himself for not being able to stop it. I don't know how it happened, whether there was anything he could have done, but it was clear that it weighed heavily on him.
I didn't know.
How could you have? I doubt anyone did. Besides Sid, I've never met a man more keen to bear his sorrows in stoic silence. An ill habit, given that both have always been surrounded by friends desperate to help them.
I'm beginning to see that. Go will want to know the stones were delivered. If he's still with us.
the thing Tomes helped to build?
Mid told me she was building a ship.
Goat. Still alive, I see. So Lady Karen accepted the ruby.
Ah, about that. I tried my best, but she was just too stubborn to take it. She threw it right back in my face, in fact, and told me I could stick my stupid stone where the sun don't shine.
Karen refused payment.
I hope it wasn't something I said.
I'm sure you were as tactful as ever. Let me see what I can do.
Oh, wonderful. I hope you have better luck than I did.
I don't know where Sid gets the energy.
Lady Karen, Goat tells me you weren't happy with our offer. Would you prefer the debt was repaid in coin?
What debt? I don't recall lending any of you lot me hard-earned gil. I may have tossed a talent or two in the Hideaway's coffers, but those were donations, and you can hardly call it charity if you go asking for it back.
Of course not. But one good turn deserves another. And our circumstances have changed. Surely you wouldn't shun the gratitude of a pauper who happened to have become a prince.
Oh, so you're a prince now, are you? Fine. But I'm selling it and taking what I'm owed, then you're getting the rest whether you like it or not. Where'd you even get this? A decent trader might nab 1,000 talents for a star ruby. A canny one, meanwhile, might claim it were nicked from the belt of Sid the Outlaw himself and ask twice as much. Might be I already have a buyer in mind. Might be you even know her. A fine continental maid whose beauty's only eclipsed by a guile in commerce. You wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all. Just be sure to tell her that it's always a pleasure doing business.
I hear you ended up delivering all 3 stones. Thanks to this lump. I sometimes wonder what I pay you for.
Speaking of which, I still haven't been paid last month's wages.
Oh, so you remember what's owed to you then? Get your ass behind that disc of yours and don't get up before those ledgers are square.
Right away.
I've seen that before.
Yeah. Plenty of times. It was the only goblet Sid ever used, either out of habit, or because the filthy sod couldn't be bothered to find a clean one.
I knew so little about him.
Like most people.
Martha and the Dame both seem to have fond memories of him.
I bet they do.
How long did you know Sid before he...
Before he died. 20 summers, give or take. Back in the day, I was a purser on a trade ship, which is where I met him. He bought passage to... I forget where. And having nothing better to do on the long nights, we set up drinking island rum till the morning bell dragged me back to my duties. Quit my post not long after that. On account of making a fine maiden's belly fat. But me and Sid stayed close, promising we'd one day sail the seas again. That was before fate stepped in and said she was having none of it. The magic woke inside my son soon after his first name day, and there was no hiding his knack.
Couldn't you and your family have...
My family were the ones who summoned the constable, wanted the monster taken away. I couldn't turn my back on him. Forget what I felt, and I couldn't for the life of me understand how they could. Luckily, Sid was of the same mind as me. It was him who stood beside me when all I wanted was to tear the whole world down. Him who cried for me when I had no tears left of my own. Him who swore he'd do everything he could to stop it from happening again. And he was true to his word, too. Left the Royal Army once and for all. His ranks, his ribbons, gone. Just like that. Threw away everything he had. All to right a wrong that no one else had the courage to face. I knew then I'd follow that man to the ends of the earth. He was always too clever for his own good, was Sid. Saw the world for what it really was, while the rest of us were content to go along with the lie we were shown. And it can't have been easy, bearing that burden alone. But he didn't let it stop him. He never lost faith in what he believed was right. And that gave us faith in him. Faith he'd steer us true. So I swore to myself that I'd always be right behind him, ready to catch the stubborn sod, if ever he should fall. But I couldn't even do that. Ignore me. Just the ramblings of a tired old man. Leave that lot. I'll tidy it up in a bit.
This is Sid's handwriting. Dear Otto.
I may be drunk, but I wanted you to know this place would be fucked without you. I love you, you grumpy old sod.
This note.
Hmm? What about it?
Sid was right. Without you, we'd all be lost.
He should have bloody well said so then. Just once. Before he went. But then, why would he? Him, or anyone? I'd only have told him to piss off. You're wrong, though. Both of you. It was never just me keeping the hideaway afloat. It was all of us. I just shoved people in the right direction. I barely seem to be able to do that anymore.
Would you rather goat were at the helm?
Well, maybe I've got a few more years left in me.
I'm going to hold you to that, Otto.
Before you go, Sid would have wanted you to have this.
But that's...
This'll do me just fine. Thanks for the ray of sunshine. I'll see if I can't pay you back.
Already have.
Mid told me she was building a ship.
Is that the thing Tomes helped to build?
I don't know where Sid gets the energy. Crack the crystal too? You're joking.
She had a man of Grieger mopping their brows. The whole thing's unseemly if you ask.
Please, teach me how to fight.
All right. If you're still here when my shift is up.
certainly quiet. If I were a giant antelope, it would seem like just the place. I doubt we'll find one bigger than that. You hungry, Torgal? Now, will it be enough, I wonder? I say that answers my question, which means we owe the lawsmen our thanks. You're just a big puppy, aren't you? A very big puppy. You do know you can take that with you, Torgal. Lady Karen will be relieved to hear you've got your appetite back. Come on, boy.
I noticed you and Torgal had gone off somewhere. Take him for a walk, did you?
You could say that.
So, Molly's leftovers weren't good enough, eh? That'll teach me for treating you like you're still a pup. All right, no need to shout. Now we know what you're after, I can see about getting some in.
Speaking of which, I brought one for later. Can I leave it with you?
You can, aye. I'm nice like that. In return, you can thank Tomes for me. The bloody know-it-all.
I was just on my way to see him.
Oh, I'm never drinking.
Ah, Clive. Were you able to locate your quarry?
We were indeed, Lawsman. You pointed us in exactly the right direction. And Torgal's been a very happy hound ever since.
Very good, very good.
Lady Karen sends her thanks, by the way, for your part in solving the mystery.
Ah. But that reminds me. After your last visit, I found myself pondering Torgal's talents. Do you recall our conversation concerning Lady Jill's role in Torgal's transformation?
About how she somehow woke the power within him.
Precisely that. A reasonable conclusion, I thought. But one which raised certain questions in my mind. You see, The Fenrir of legend served Shiva and Shiva alone, and while the powers attributed to him are certainly impressive, the records imply they are somewhat different in nature to those you described Torgal as having used.
What are you suggesting?
That Torgal may be the beneficiary of more than one Icon's power. Consider that in addition to Lady Jill, he has served as a loyal companion to you, your brother, and even the late Cid. In short, the Icons hitherto near at hand, or should I say at paw, have been diverse and plenty, and that number has only grown as the realm's dominance have fallen to your sword. One can but speculate as to how all of this has affected Torgal.
He has seemed more fierce of late.
And if I am not mistaken, he will grow fiercer still. We are fortunate indeed to be able to count him amongst our allies and not our adversaries.
Oh, he's more than an ally. He's a friend.
One would never guess that these people stood on the brink of war.
They're afraid. They turn to drink to forget their fears.
Anything you want to forget?
The harbor is empty, and half the market stalls too. The city may seem peaceful on the surface, but it's balanced on a knife edge. Were we to give it a nudge, it might be just the distraction we need to reach the Mother Crystal.
I thought you might say that. We should send for Gav. We'll need someone to keep the fires we start from going out.
And we can busy ourselves scheming until he gets here.
I'll send a Stolas then.
What is it, boy?
Quickly! Run!
What's happening?
I don't know. Torgal! This way.
city's on fire.
I'm sure Goots is fine. He'll be making for the square.
The one with the bell tower. In the middle of town, right?
Watchman or sentry is to be slain on sight.
Don't spare the citizenry. His Highness's orders were clear.
Those were Imperial Dragoons. What in the hell is going on?
Let's go and see.
Right. But first we find Goots.
I just hope he's all right.
Do we have to?